Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Oh my gosh. Hi, guys. Welcome. I'm so happy to see people here. Yay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my gosh. This is warming my heart better than oatmeal. Welcome, welcome. As you're coming in, go ahead and say hi and drop where you're joining us from. Hey, Alexandria. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Cindy. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Hilda. Some of these people I haven't seen in a long time. Hey, Kathleen. Are you guys just coming back off summer break? Is that what's going on? Cool. Hey, Levi. Welcome. Hey, Mary Beth, Michelle, Monica, Stacy. Hey, y'all. So glad you guys are able to join us today. Now, this is feeling more like what we're used to. Fantastic. So I'm sorry about us just starting. We had some tech difficulties, that happens from time to time. But no matter, we are happy to be back and happy to be with you today. So happy Wednesday. We're going to go ahead and get started because we have some really great conversations ahead of us. And we want to make sure we use all of our time. All right, Andrew. And of course, wonderful Andrew is our tech for today. So, of course, if you're new, we have ways to engage. When you're ready to speak, raise your hand. We'll ask you to unmute yourself if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. I'm sorry. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation, if you'd like to, weigh in, feel free to use the chat. When we use the chat, make sure it's going to everyone and not just the speakers, us individually. And then please be patient with us because I promise you today's conversation is going to be really good. You're probably going to want to weigh in and, and we're all for that, but just be patient. It's okay. Thanks, Andrew. Next. Hey, Vanessa, welcome. So these are agreements, and at Bistro & Fountains, we have agreements for everything that we do is a way to create emotionally safe space and encourage you to be brave in this space. We ask you to help us by keeping these agreements, okay? So the first one, speak from your own experience, use I statements. Your story has value. We want to hear your story, not somebody else's story. Your experiences, because they can help other people. Follow the golden rule, treat other people the way you want to be treated. This wraps up all of our nice cafe agreements in a nice little bow, gift wrapped bow. Why? Because we're not judging, we're not giving advice, we're not doing any of that stuff. So follow the golden rule. And then full presence, please no multitasking. We know you could be doing some other stuff, and you probably are. At least have lunch, because it is lunchtime. But don't be like doing Candy Crush and stuff and all that stuff. Just be in the moment with us. And if you need a minute, take a minute. Okay, we understand. But I think you're gonna enjoy today's conversation. So I'm looking forward to it. If you agree, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Yay, I see everybody agreeing. Yay! Hey, Melissa. I agree. Love it. All right, Andrew, I think we can keep moving. So today, guys, our topic for today is really a riff off of a cafe that we had back in July. Adulting is hard. I am honored today to host some of the best people in the whole wide world. Today's conversation is going to be held with our National Parent Cafe leadership team members. And these people are everything. The National Parent Cafe leadership team helps to, they're ambassadors for Bistro & Fountains, they're cafe consultants. Without them, we wouldn't have what we have. They review and inform our decisions and our curriculum, and they sit on our board. They're just like the best people in the whole wide world. And they also happen to be parents and family members, and they are raising teens and young adults. Oh my God. So apparently they've been having these great conversations all the time about how the wonderful joys of raising or parenting young people. And then thought, you know what? Why don't we just have a conversation around it for a webinar? Because we're sure other people feel like this. So I'm excited. I'm late to the party, but I'm excited to have this conversation today with Amani Rodriguez, Mindie Bentcik, Pam Herron, and Dorian Harris today. So I'm looking forward to today's conversation, and I hope you are too. So let's talk about it. We're not using a web, a PowerPoint or anything because it's just conversation. So guys, let's just kick this off with I feel like if we're talking about teens and young adults, that I probably need to pray first or something, or trust myself because the struggle is real. Amen for Jesus. And so I'm just gonna kick it off and anybody can start. Okay, you guys know how we do. We always have great conversations about 12,000 things. So this is no different. What I'll ask this: when is it hard to parent and do you parent your teen, young adult? When is it hard and when is it easy to parent them? Anyone can just unmute.
I don't think it's ever easy, right, Mr. Dorian?
Never.
What makes it not easy though?
Well, because so good afternoon, welcome everyone. My name is Dorian Harris. I'm wanting to say it's never easy, right? Because and especially when you have stair steps, right? Now, so I can go from one point to being a grandfather with 19 grandkids, and they are at the age of 1 to 18. 3 of them are from 16 to 18, and the other 16 are from 1 to 11. But being a dad raising six teenagers all at one time, and now they are all young adults right now. It changes, so you're still dealing with 6 different personalities, right? Everything is not the same. They're all going to have their own different concerns, and these concerns have to be addressed in a whole different manner.
That's exhausting. It sounds exhausting. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it really is. And there's not only that, parenting, as a parent, and we know that parent going to stick with us, right? You can go from parent to grandparent to hopefully great grandparent, or great grandparent. So every day it's a learning experience. So even though my children are in their 20s, they mid-20s now, I still have those fatherly conversations, with those parenting conversations, and there's always one the children who may say, y'all better listen to dad. We still have our little family talks, and we do a family chat, so we in communication, because although y'all are young adults, I still need to know what's going on in your life. I still need to know who are your friends and what are you doing, like who's in your circle, because in this day and time, as a parent, we need to know that, and I have told them, this probably ain't going to never change until you probably get 50. I might want to still know who your friends are, who's in your circle, who you hang out with, So that's my take on it.
Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else want to weigh in on this conversation before we move?
I try to do a little bit more advice giving than parenting, because it's hard to let go of that parenting hat once they reach a certain age, because I don't know about anybody else's children, but especially with my oldest, she's quick to say, Mom, I'm grown. She's 22. I'm grown. Okay, you grown until you call me on the phone and say, Ma, how do I fill this out? Or can you call the doctor for me? Or Ma, can I have $5 for gas? I'm like, no, hey, you grown. Go figure it out.
That part, go ahead.
And she'll say, that's not fair. I'm still your baby. I'm like, no, you're not my baby. You're an adult now. Go play in the street or something. But I completely understand what Mr. Dorian is saying, because it's I don't want to like completely let them go out into the world all on their own with no lifeline. So I still try to be somewhat of a lifeline, but I'm the type of mom that I'll do it for them anyway, and that's not helping them. So I need input from everybody else too, because I have to stop doing everything for them.
Ooh, well, I don't do everything for mine because it's exhausting. But I will. Okay, I have this question, right? I have this question. Like, how do you parent or not parent? I don't know, the mouth, because y'all know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when they smart mouth, like as young adults, late teens and young adults, like I'm just curious. How is anybody else handling the mouth? Because, I'm trying to stay out of jail.
Well, I just got that.
Yeah.
I'm 21 now, so you can't tell me what to do. Just the other day she'll be 21 on the 31st. So that was, and she's back in my home. So I think it's even harder because she's in my house, trying to not go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So I totally get that. But at the same time, I have a 17-year-old in the house as well. And so trying to balance the two, because they both share the basement. She works, my 21-year-old works her butt off. She's got better savings habits than mom does at this point in life right now, which I'm grateful for. But it's the relationship stuff. And I worry about, that's why she's back in my house, because she had a falling out. And so trying to make sure she's okay mental health wise from that. But at the same time, like, she's also borrowing one of my cars. So then I'm like freaking out. And she's like, why are you checking on me so much? And I'm like, I'm checking on my car. Where's my car?
How about that? The car you pay insurance on, Mindy, that car.
Yes.
That car, the car you pay insurance on.
And I pay for all the maintenance
I pay the
on.
bill, right?
Yeah, she puts like $10 of gas in. I get in, the gas lights on, So it's very frustrating with the young adult in the home.
I tell mine that, just let me know where you're going, or when you get there, and let me know if you're coming in, tonight. Because I remember being that age and living at home with mom and still wanting to be able to come in and out. But we didn't have cell phones back then. So there was no check-in, unless I, got to where I was going. But to answer the smart, mine were born with smart mouths. And I think that's because I have a bit of a snappy mouth.
No,
so I've been told allegedly. I don't believe, that it's true, but allegedly I've been told this. So my children have always been quick-witted with it. And I kind of appreciate it a little bit, because then that lets me know that they won't let anybody else run over them, So if they go a little bit too far out, I still remind them that I'm your mama. Okay, you want to meet the next age, you might want to tone it back a little bit, or if they get too big with it, if I get up out of my chair to move, they take off running.
But you know what's so ironic about that, right? When you talk about the smart mouth, right? But what about the smart mouth with the bass in the voice? That's one that I could never accept, right? Oh, oh dad, I need some money. Oh, you want to take that bass out to what you talking to me, son? Right? No. So that was one of, I want to say, two of my boys, that was just like they pet peeve, right? And I'm going by with what he was just saying. Back in the day, see, we didn't have cell phones, right? Back in the day, the system wasn't more right? But I just leave it with this. You ever have air leave your body?
Ever had what?
Air leave your body.
Right. No, like that little punch in the stomach, that right in the gut, where all your air just come out of your body. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
It wasn't in a harmful way. It really didn't hurt them, but more they're more scared, because they never had that. There's a certain way that you do it where you're not, looking at it as physical abuse, but no, you were the man a minute ago. A minute ago you was a man, right?
Yeah. I know. My brother likes to say, what the problem is? These kids, they have too much air. It's like they have too much air.
That's why you gotta get some out of their body. That's how you dispose of something. Right there in the stomach.
I think you know what? I just wanted to Amani mentioned something about not having to let them know where you're going and things like that, asking them. I think one of the ways that I worked around that was I have my girls they let their sisters know, like they're really tight cousins that they're with, so they all know where they're going and what they're doing, so that I get to stay out of it. And if I need to know, then I can, and somebody's keeping tabs. So it doesn't have to be me all the time. Do you know what I mean? And then also my sisters, I use my network to sort of help me with that piece. Cause I'm like, where you going? When she come to my house, right? Which she treats like an Airbnb. I don't know about anybody else, but she has her own place away from my place. And yet she's an Airbnb squatter. So she don't pay no deposits. She don't pay no rent. She just come over and squat. Okay, Sarita, come back. So, but when she comes to my house, she does her stuff. When she comes to my house, I'm like, oh, where you going? Does somebody know where you're going? Yes, Mom. I'm like, oh, okay. Do I need to get life 60, 360? I know about that 360 where you can follow your kids or know where they are and have their location. No, Mom, I'm good. My sisters have it. So they have 360 on each other, which is cool. So that gives me some peace, but I don't know if that helps anyone. 360.
Well,
Okay.
well,
Go
well,
ahead.
when so in that mode, my daughters, when they got into that teenage dating mode, and Dad, me and my friend, we're going out to the movie with and I was okay with it. What time are we going? That's all. What time are we going?
Are we good?
That's right. I was there. I had to, even my sons, when they wanted to go roller skating. All right, son, what time we meeting up? We gonna go, because I needed to know who was in their crowd, who was in their circle, right? Because as parents, we could assess that. As parents, we could assess, but wait a minute, I'm not feeling clean. This hit disposition, something about him that's eerie to me that, if I caught it, then I don't think this is the person that you need to be around. So, I did get a chance to go out with all my daughters, all my boys. When they went on their first dates, guess what? I was their chaperone. I wanted to make sure that, my daughters was treated right. And I wanted to make sure that my sons, if you're going out on a date, that you was treating the woman, treating it, the opposite, in the right perspective at the same time.
Wow, that's admirable. That's admirable. I don't think I want to go. But okay, so I love all the comments. Can I just read a couple of comments, guys? And then we'll go back. Because someone said, oh, I so appreciate what everyone is saying, the laughter about our lives, Marianne and our co-grandmothers, sharing a household with her son, my daughter, and their twin girls. Wow. We had some extraordinary stresses and joys. We live in this community where adult relationships set the tone for everything else. And then she has to sign up, but she was glad she came in. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. We're gonna stop there because some of those are pretty long. So I think people are vibing with this this conversation. What's the hardest thing about parenting a young adult? What's the hardest thing about parenting a young adult? Or let's do that.
I think letting go,
Yes.
knowing when to let them make their decisions without being the superhero with the pillow, the cushion to blow, but allowing them to bump their head in order to get themselves back in the line and correct it. So I always refer back to the illustration of Humpty Dumpty fell on the wall. So when everyone help them get itself back together, that's what is needed in order for them to be back on track. Those heads need to bump sometimes. So I had to learn that, stop trying to cushion the blow or either try to prevent it,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree. And my husband and I go back and forth with that because we have our two older children, boy and a girl, and he wants to protect our daughter more so most of the time than our son. And I'm like, well, she's got hit it as much as it hurts me. because that's my baby. All of them are my baby until they make me upset and in their heads. But then, you know, I'm like, she's got to learn it. She's, you know, because she's the one that's the go-getter. You know, she'll live on her own, but this house is the Airbnb, you know, she'll travel by herself and all those things. Our son is more of a homebody unless he's hanging out with his friends, but it's the going back and forth, knowing when to let them go, you know, when to hold on, when to cushion. I can't imagine what my parents went through.
That part.
Well, and even now, as I'm almost 50, and you know, my mom will sometimes call or send text messages. I love her; she's so sweet. And try to parent, and I'm just looking at the phone like, "Lady, I'm 49. I'm not 2." I'm like, "Oh, I wonder if that's what my children say."
I dare say, I do believe, Amani, they probably will say that. I'm wondering this too, because we have kids, and we have varying different kids, right? So let me just go around right quick and just ask everybody your how old are your kids, Pam?
25.
25. And what about you, Amani?
22, 19, and 11. Who thinks she's 35?
And Mindy?
A daughter that's almost 21, a daughter that's almost 20, a daughter that's 17, and a 13-year-old son.
Oh, Jesus, I'm creepy out. And then Mr. Dorian said he has like 6 between 11 and 19. How many total, Mr. Dorian?
No, so my kids' ages are 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 30. And I always forget the 42-year-old, but he's like, I was in a conversation like, but Dad, I always notice when you say things, you only have 6 kids, but what about me? I was your first, right? And I think, well, and he's right. But it's actually 7. And when he sees certain things on me, and he looked up and said, "Mr. Dorian, with 6 kids," he said, "Well, I know I got 6 siblings, but shouldn't I be number 7, Dad?" I was like, "Yes, Terrence."
Tell him he aged out.
Yeah, but I told him that. I said, "Yes, you aged out." And just like with the comment, when do you let your kids go, right? And I guess me being, the dad that I was, I let them go early. I really let them go, but just knowing that I was still going to be in their life. And like I tell them always, got the grace of God, I'm going to be here if needed. But sometimes it's like the mother bird, right? She take her baby from the nest, right? You're going to fly, you're going to fall, right? That's why she take at a certain time, they take them out of that nest and she let you go. You're either going to learn to fly or you're going to fall, right?
Okay.
And yeah, so sometimes that's what I mean, like we say, we all got different parenting styles, right? And just knowing that as long as we're doing the positive things, how we parenting, we're doing we keeping our family safe and our kids out of harm's way. We're doing what we have to do, but we all have different styles of parenting. But as I explained to my partner, parenting is an everyday thing. Every day you're going to learn something, right? It's a challenge. Every single day there's a challenge. When you think you got it, you don't have it because we're never going to get it. It's
Definitely.
Every day. It's an everyday learning experience. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, there's an argument or discussion going back and forth on social media. I'd love to hear you all's thoughts about it. Your kid gets 18. Are they out or no? It's like, you get 18, you out of here. When y'all get 18, y'all out the door. 18 is like the push them out the door. Brenda said no. What about you guys? Is 18, are they out the door? Is it like if they not in school or they not working, if they're not in school, they out? What is it? What's the verdict here? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna comment on that one because I taught my kids at an early age to be self-sufficient, right? So my job was this to them. I need y'all to get through high school, get your high school diploma, right? But not only during that point, once they all turned 14 years of age, they had summer jobs. You know, they worked. And they did this by, I'm not sure what it was, but each year when they started graduating, they saved up enough money and got out. So
Whoa, all
I
of them.
think
Wow.
all of them, all the way down to the baby boy, all the way down to the baby boy. And I think it was more of a mindset that they got out of me, because they was like, you know what? I ain't living with this man after 18 because he got too many restrictions. You know, he got too many rules. And that's what we do as parents. We're going to set rules in our household, right? You're going to blind by, you're going to blind by, or you keep it moving. But it stuck with them, you know, like I said, from the, you know, the military experience and background that I had and how I brought them up, that I they were gonna get out when they got their high school diploma. I just made sure they were self-sufficient enough to have enough funding, and they were holding down some good jobs that they were able to make that transition. So I did what I had to do.
Ladies, thoughts?
For me, it's a no. Go ahead, Pam.
No, I was gonna say no for me. But I know with my son, when he was, you know, that age and he wanted to go to school, and I tried to convince him, you know, you can just go to community college, you know, you don't got, it's only your general ed, so just stay at home, you know, save some money. But he told me that, Ma, I need to find out who I am. So that pretty much set the tone from then on out. I'm like, okay, that's it, that's all. So yeah, that shut me up.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
like I said, for me, it was no, because I don't want them to feel like they're being abandoned or neglected. It's a personal. I like have issues. I have real issues with that. My husband was like, once they're 18, they're going. I said, did your mom kick you out at 18? He said, yes. I said, well, that's the problem.
And you know what? And this is so great, right? Because of the panel discussion. And actually, I just came from an in-person cafe. I haven't been in an in-person cafe since the pandemic, right? And that conversation came up. And I said, so even in parenting, like I said, there's many ways of parenting because we all have our different styles. But as coming from a male to a female perspective, there's going to always be a parallel shift of how we raise our kids, right? Because you're coming from a female perspective and then as a male perspective. But I was that one when my girls was in first, second, and third grade. I had them up on that tree. I wanted them to climb the tree because I wanted them to be secure enough to know that your dad got you, that your dad is here. So you're not going to fall, not going to allow you to hurt yourself. So I had them go through some of the things that I would, you know, do along with my boys at the same time. But there's always a difference in male and female when we're raising our children. But just knowing that we're, like I said, as long as we parenting in a positive way to improve the outcome of our children in a successful way, that it's all, you know, we're all doing the right thing with our children. You know, we all want to get different opinions. That's all.
But getting them leaving at 18 is such a huge responsibility. Because I feel like as a parent, my job is to set them up for success and not failure. And at 18, there's so many things that could go left. At 49, there are a lot of things that could go left, right? So when my daughter was ready to move out, you know, I told her, I said, you'll always have a place to stay. My husband's in the back. No, you won't. I said, yes, you will. She's got to go. Where she had the money? Oh, I thought you wanted to go on. That's what I have to deal with, right? But, you know, just to let her know that she always has some place to stay. There are things that you're going to run into. Like, once I got married and moved out of my mom's house, then I was like, oh, I felt like I could never go back. So any wall that we hit, I'm like, we have no safety net. We have nowhere to go. And I don't want my children to feel that same type of pressure. So like I said, for me, 18, my son took a gap year between high school and going to technical college. But I kept reminding him, son, don't get too comfortable. you know, you're gonna have to eventually get a job, learn how to take care of yourself. He didn't really want to go to 4-year school. I said, go learn a trade. At
Yeah.
least a trade that you will be able to take care of yourself and not rely on anybody else. So
Yeah.
at 19, he's still here, but he's going to school. So, you know, and I'm trying to get him to learn how to handle his own business when it comes to school, instead of looking at me like, Mom, you gonna fill out my financial aid? No.
Oh, yeah, I still had that responsibility. It was still, we did it together. We worked at it together. So I didn't just leave and abandon him. You know, it was still, we had that communication. Anytime he needed me, I'll go where he at, or we communicate on the phone. So it was never a abandonment type issue. It was more of us growing together at that stage he was at. And it's been like that on from now on. So it's just like I said, it's us together, instead of me just saying, "Oh, you by yourself and I'm over here." No, we communicate every day. So whenever he need me, I'm always there.
I think I think for me, it's so funny. And Mindie, feel free, you know, you want your voice. I'm gonna move to the next question in a second, but we don't, you know, don't hold back. I want to say that because I was a young mom, because I started at 18, then my entire life I was like, these kids get 18, they out of here. Like, I can't wait to be free. I can't wait to be free when these kids get 18, they out. And then when they got 18, I was like, oh, my, you know, my mindset shifted some. And I was like, oh no, they're not ready to be out on their own. Like, they still, you know, they still need, I'm not a helicopter mom by any means. That's not me. I want my kids, I've taught them to be great decision makers. I've taught them to be self-sufficient. And at the same time, I was like, you know, they can stay until they get ready to leave the nest. My husband's like, when is that? So they're finally all gone, right? They're finally, dear God, they're finally gone. Amen for Jesus. My son just got his first apartment by himself. He's been living like a nomad for the last 4 years between my house, between house, wherever he's working. So he finally just got his first place by himself. I'm super proud of him. This is my question. How do you, as a parent, how do you manage your feelings, emotions, expectations when your children, especially as young adults, if they do not, you know, if their path or their journey looks different from what you expected or wanted for them? And I'm gonna just let me say this. My young adults, I have 3, they're 30. Oh gosh, she's 31. What year is this? Oh my gosh, she's 32. Lord Jesus. They're 32 and 30. God, I hate seeing their ages. It just makes me feel so much older. And golly, it just made me feel anxious. And where's my coffee? And
You were
then
a young mom. You were a young mom. That's what it is.
So 27, 30, and 32, right? And their journeys are nothing like what we expected, what we thought they were going to be. They are so much better. Like for us, it was go to school, you know, go to school, get a trade, work a job, work till you die, make sure you get like, you know, make sure you have all your stuff. You need insurance, you need security, stay there until you die, whether you like it or not, because that's the way, you know, we were raised, sort of. You know, for the most part, it was like, you need job security, you want to work, don't leave one job until you get to another job, you know, that kind of stuff. And then my kids was like, I can't do this 9 to 5 mess. I'm going, you know, I don't want to do this no more. What? Well, they got a good job. That's AT&T. They have great benefits, you know. They like, screw that. This job is this messing with my mental health. I need to do something. I'm free. I got dreams. I got, you know, I'm like, oh Lord, how we doing this, Jesus? And then they, you know, so one became a brand ambassador. Excuse me, and she works hard and she's a hustler. And I know nothing about brand ambassador, right? But it's not a 9 to 5, but she can pay her bills. She's happy. She makes her own schedule. She's not tied to a desk, 9 to 5. My son is a whole entertainer. I did. I say he drove around, for 4 years as a nomad, but he was doing all that time. We were his safety net, and he was doing the stuff that he loved to do, even though it caused my husband, mainly my husband, all this angst, like, why are they not? They need a 9 to 5. They're not even working. I'm like, they're working. They're hustlers, man. They're working hard. It just doesn't look like what we're used to. It's different. So how do you, as a parent, has anybody experienced that? How do you manage your emotions when your kid's journey doesn't look like yours? Mindie, we can hear from you.
None of my kids' journeys have ended up like where I thought they'd all graduate and go to college, but I'm going to take a gap year. Well, now she's 21. She graduated a few years ago, but she's working 2 jobs. You know what I mean? She's trying to get herself together and figure out, and hers wasn't, I'm going to move out when I'm 18. It's, I'm going to go be who I am. She knew who she was at an early age. I call her my bohemian hippie child because she's just, I love her to death. But then my 19-year-old, she's almost 20. She just made her first big girl purchase and financed a vehicle. And of course, Mom, what do I do? Mom, what do I look for? Mom this, Mom that. But now she's like, I'm like, you shouldn't have paid that much for, 130,000 miles on a vehicle already. I'm like, the life. So just trying to teach them that those balances, but letting them do and make those mistakes. I will say that I told them that you go to jail if you're guilty and did something stupid, you're going to sit there and sit your consequence out. I will not bail you out. Like, that's my biggest thing. Just because of our background, they saw their dad go to jail a lot, so they know that it's a serious thing. So I want them to get scared real fast, I know when I went to jail as a young, I cried like a baby. I'm not one that can sit in a small box and be confined and told what to do. But I'm already seeing those changes in with my 13-year-old son, trying to develop him. He's definitely not on the path I wanted him to be on, but the girls definitely will not get pushed out, but he's not going to stay until he's 40 living in my basement. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That part.
Because I worry about him pulling that, but my girls are all 3 work. Even my 17-year-old, she's graduating early this year. She'll be a senior. So she's trying to get her driver's license, because that's not a necessity in my house. You work for that. So they have to pay their own insurance when they get a car. So it's all, I have a stricter line of what's a necessity and what's a want in my house for them.
Girl, I had to put that in the chat. Driver's license is not a necessity.
And I have real loose boundaries.
It is a privilege.
Mindy, you make me feel like a bad parent. I have all these loose boundaries, right?
I don't even know how to spell necessity. Okay, go ahead.
It doesn't bother me that I don't think I had a path envisioned for my children. And I think that's because my mom and grandma kept trying to pigeonhole me into something that I did not want to do, or something that I did not want to be. So when I went to college the first time around, I chose a major that I thought that they would be proud of, and then I didn't like it. And then the major that I wanted, my mom was like, no, don't do that. You need to do this. So I chose what she wanted, and I didn't stay. So I was I'm like, there's so many more options than XYZ. Like, there's this whole wide world of things that they can do. And when we were growing up, entrepreneurship was not on the table.
Yes.
Not
like
I
this.
feel like, not like this. And I feel like if it had been, it would have been a whole different thing for us. So, I just tell I tell them, get it how you live it. It's just whatever you do, be good at it. I don't want to get any phone calls that you're in trouble, with the law or anything like that. My daughter is one that is quick to quit a job. She was working at a gas station in between jobs, and she clocked in, she was on time. The manager was having a bad day, yelled at her, She said, you
Mhm.
know what? I'm out. And I'm like, you have a car payment. What do you mean?
Not you have a car payment.
Right. Mom,
Oh.
she's not gonna sit there and talk to me any kind of way. And I'm like, you know what? I did tell you that respect is earned, not given. Okay, I see you. But what you gonna do in the meantime, you know? So she's always been able to land on her feet when it comes to
Mhm.
employment. So I don't really oh, I'm a floating head. Ooh, I don't really worry about them too much. But Mindy, I might have to think about, well, I don't know if it's gonna work for the baby. So we'll see. Maybe for the grandchildren when they come along.
And that's one thing, I didn't want to shove them into a profession, but I didn't want them, I want them to be able to be self-sufficient. I don't want them to have to end up in a relationship where they're codependent on that other partner to fulfill their needs, like as far as financial needs. They should complete each other as far as mental and emotional needs, but I just didn't want that. So as long as they can do something, I mean, my girls started out waitressing, so they were making $3 an hour. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you guys can't do this for the rest of your life. But they'd come in and they'd be like, make it rain. Look at my tips tonight, you know? But I'm like, it doesn't balance, and not knowing that number when it comes to payday and knowing that you can make that bill payment is where,
Mhm.
and they've had those ups and downs, especially through the pandemic when they were shut down, and then they got all this money from unemployment because they got paid. And then I'm like, no, what'd you do with it? You know, because I give them that rope because they've earned it. They're 18, you know what I mean? But I still
Mhm.
like to hang on to it because they're not ready to have it completely let go of yet.
Yeah. So I just want to say this. It is 12:45, but I want to introduce this next question because I'm curious. I've always wanted to be the mom that I've always wondered, let me just say it this way. I've always wondered, how do people produce kids who do great things? And I guess that's like, I guess great is objective, but I'm wondering, like, I've always looked at like, you guys see King Richard, like the Serena and Venus,
Yeah.
and what's his name, and what's the girl, the tumbler, the gymnast, what's her
Simone.
name? Simone.
Simone.
Simone, right. And people have done things like that. And I'm always wondering, what did those parents do to foster that greatness in them? So I guess my question to you is, what does greatness look like to you, and how do you foster it in your young adults or your teens?
Well,
So
I'm
that
going
they
to,
feel
I
like,
guess I'll start. I'm going to start. And it goes back to the last conversation. You know, like I always told my kids, I want you to get your high school diploma. From there, I want you to pick your own direction. All right.
mhm,
One of my daughters is actually in the military academy for 4 years. And
mhm,
I'd say to you like, Dad, well, I don't really want to go in the army. I said, you're not in the school to go into the army. You know, you're in the school because this is the school that you chose that you wanted to go to. You know,
mm,
and I had to sit down with all my kids and say, I'm telling y'all, I'm giving y'all the I statement. This is what I got out of the military. This is what the
mm,
government done for me after I did 21 years and during my tenure
mhm,
being in the military. So, and I'm not, and I would tell them all, I'm not saying I want y'all to go in the military because at the end of the day, you're going to direct your own life. You know, all I need, the only thing that I need you to do, want you to do is get 18 and get out. So that's about, that's about all. That's about all I ask for. You know, that's all I. That's all.
he gonna say, I didn't tell my kids they had to be 18, but they always trying to get out by the time he was 18. I just want you out by the time you're 18. Okay, so anybody else? How do you define what is greatness to you, and how do you foster it in your young people?
I was pretty open with my kids about like finances as they got into their older teens. Like my girls, not my son, because he's only 13. But my girls, especially when they started working, just making sure to help them foster that knowledge of savings. The older two definitely took some money out of every paycheck and put it in a locked account they couldn't touch. which helped raise interest. So just trying to foster the knowledge of you don't want to be in debt when you, especially starting out, and it can happen so easy.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know my mother had used my name for a power bill when I was younger, so that affected me.
Yeah. Oh, is she frozen?
Frozen.
I think she's frozen. Okay. Does someone else want to weigh in?
Then,
Mindy, you're frozen.
oh, just
Um,
fostering that financial knowledge for them.
Okay.
I would say just being supportive. With my son, he was more of an athlete. So ever since the age of 5, he was doing T-ball all the way up to basketball. So just being supportive of what he wanted to do. I just hate when he got to junior high, he was like, I don't want to do baseball. I want to do basketball. It's too hot to be standing out in the field. But he was so good at baseball, left-hander, pitcher. I was like, are you serious? You know how, so that was a issue with me, but I had to let go, let God.
I had that
Because
problem
I was
too.
like, why? But, you know, like I said, I stay supportive. And then with the financial part with Mindy, I got him engaged in a lot of stuff, a lot of organizations. He was part of different things like having mentors and things of that nature. So yeah, I kept him engaged and involved in things. I had him volunteering, you know, things of that nature, just to keep him busy. Because I didn't want to hear him being the only child on board. No, you're not. I'm not going to. So yeah, I kept him involved and engaged and supported him on the way.
Yeah.
Well, my
And
husband
being
and I are
there.
more creative, more artistic, so we're pretty much like whatever, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But I let my children know that success is not measured by how much money they have or what job title they have or what degree that they have. I tell them success to me is if you set a goal and you meet that goal, then you're successful. You've achieved whatever. So if you say today, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk a mile, you have been successful for that day, and just keep building on that. I'm not real strict on them. I'm not the hard disciplinarian.
Yeah. I think I always wanted to be their mom. I was like, you know, when I hear stories of people like dropping their jobs to go across to California so their kids could be, you know, or leaving their jobs, their kids and go to the best, whatever it was they were doing. And I think about that because my son did do, you know, he did go into school, he went to HBCU, he did do all these great things. He became a teacher, he became a dean of students, you know, he's making all this money, and then he left to become a rapper. And I was like, what just happened? Like, what the heck just happened? What is going on around here? And because I always wanted to know what that, you know, like, what does this feel like? I was like, wait, this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity to, you know, to try and be that mom that's not like, I don't know, bogged down in fear or like, you got to do it this way. And so then I just really encouraged him, sort of like what you guys were saying too, follow his dreams and to do, you know, because I felt like his dreams, I've changed a lot from that mom like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. And I was like, yeah, follow your dreams. So we were like his safety net. We did, you know, we picked up a lot of bills, like, you know, whatever stuff that he couldn't handle, or his what is the thing I'm asking for? His insurance for his car, or making sure that, you know, when he wanted to come home, he could come home, or helping out with bills. He's like, Mom, Dad, I don't have enough. Can you help? Blah, 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 blah. And it was hard because there was a part of me that was like, oh, he's supposed to be growing. The other part was like, no, Sarita, this is your opportunity, you know, to be that mom. And I was like, he'll find his way. They got to find, you know, I feel like they have to find their way. So for me, it became about he'll find his way. He'll get there. I mean, he did a whole tour right across the country with his guys, you for his music, and he's traveled all over the place. And sometimes that stuff don't work out. He'd be like, Mom, I'm like, dang it. Okay, I got you, boo. Why I balance my spouse on the other side saying, what the, where's this gonna change? Where's this going? How long before? I'm like, what the heck? That balance right there, that's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's why we keep
Co-parenting
separate
your
bank
young
accounts.
adults. Huh?
And that's why we keep separate bank accounts. You don't need to know where my money going.
Co-parenting young adults. That's a whole nother conversation, baby. That's a whole nother conversation, because how do you balance all that without killing your spouse? Not that I want to kill my spouse. Anyway, okay, so last question. It is 12:55. If you had to change, okay, what do you know now that you wish, what do you know now, looking back at your parenting journey with your teens and young adult, what do you know now that you wish you had known back then when you first started your journey with your young adult or your teen?
Where's that manual?
It's
Where are
not
the
a, you know,
instructions? I don't know. I mean, I'm young. Where's that manual? But it still hasn't come to surface. So yeah.
We need to write it, Pam. Let's write the manual.
It still hasn't come.
Amani, let's bring it. Yes.
I think I would say, okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Dorian.
What you
I
say?
think I would say, if I look back, then, and at things that I could have changed, I would say for myself, I wouldn't have changed nothing, because I think as parents, we just want our kids to be great and successful, right? Just being that positive person in life, in society. So I look back at my, as me raising my children. Everybody graduated from high school. Everybody is self-sufficient. So even if I have to go back into that ship and say, what could I have changed to do better? I don't think there's nothing I could change, because I just see success written on all over, for all of them. So, as a parent, I felt like I did what I had to do as a parent.
Thanks, Mr. Dorian. All right.
For
I
me,
would
it
say
would be, for me, it would be, I would have learned how to talk to them earlier instead of talking at them.
Yeah.
Like I started off when they were younger, talking at them instead of talking to them, and building that communication. Still built the communication foundation, but I feel like it would have been a whole lot better if I'd started from the very beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mindy?
I wished I would have known about ACEs sooner. I do know that. And what those childhood traumas and how they can affect them as young adults. Being in a domestic situation for the years that I was, and not leaving it. Definitely I can see a difference between my older two and my younger two, because the older two witnessed more. And so just, I wish I would have known more about like trauma and all that stuff about her kids sooner.
Yeah. Thank you, Mindy. Pam?
I kind of agree with Dorian. Me and my son, we pretty much grew together. I was young, we were building, like communicating, trying to find our way. I mean, of course I had my parents as well, but it was me and him. So we grew together. So whatever path he has taken, I learned just like he learned. So yeah, it was just a growing process for both of us. So, and it still is pretty much, even
And
at this
keeping
stage.
the lines of communication open at any age.
Yes, communication is very important. I
Thank
agree.
you, guys. Let's read a couple of, before we close, I'm just going to read a couple of these, because I feel like some of these they're all really good. And thank you guys for being a part of today's conversation and for weighing in. Deanna said we paid for their car insurance, food, didn't charge rent. That's the other part, right? As they paid and finished college, they worked and paid for gas in the cars provided. We assist them in building great credit. They stayed after graduation. When they were ready, they moved out as homeowners. Someone said, I wonder, Debbie had a question. I wonder how everyone feels about providing financial support ongoing. I'm not willing to hurt my own financial wellness to rescue my kids or even to send them to college. I've worked too hard for too long. And then Deanna said, assist them in building financial wealth at an earlier age. So I'm gonna say, Debbie, I'm gonna weigh in because we're almost done. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to like really let the group answer the question for you, but feel free, guys, to please put it in the chat if you have a helpful strength-based suggestion for her. And I will say this: we did it financially, and then it looks different, I think, as they get older. So now that he's on this, we're always going to support. I guess for us, it's about, for my husband and I, it's about knowing your children, teaching them, because we can't fund them forever. And we had to do what was best for us. So we did take out loans to get our kids through school because that was something we wanted for them. Yes, it was a pinch against us, even though we were like ready to be free, ready to do our own thing because we started early. So we did take out loans to support them for school. You know, I just told you we provide a safety net for our son for, 3 or 4 years. My daughter still uses our house as an Airbnb. When they hit snags, now we fund for emergency purposes only because our kids are like 30. So if they hit a snag, they need something to buy, something like that. Now we're helping financially, but we're not just, doling out cash. So I think that, it's good to know your financial situation, what you can and cannot do, and whatever decision you make, don't feel bad about it and don't feel judged about it because only you know your situation. And that's why this conversation is good. And cafes are even better because if you come to a cafe, there's no judgment. We're not judging you. That's social media. This ain't social media. So boo, we feel you. Andrew, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to our wonderful panel for joining us today. This was fabulous. The team came up with this. I just jumped in and like crashed their party. And so do me a favor and do take the poll for us. Thank you for allowing me to crash your party, team. They thought this was a great conversation to have. And I agree. I enjoyed this so much. So you know how we do, guys. Go ahead and drop in there what you're going to amplify this week. Think about the conversation we had. We're running a few minutes over, but drop your amplify before you log off. What are you going to amplify this week? Something positive about your teen or young adult. We chose #amplify independence. You may have another one. Feel free to drop it. And then next, Andrew. Excuse me. Don't forget to use your phone and scan the QR code, and it'll tell you about our upcoming webinars, right? And some of you guys have reached out to us for certificates. They are offered by request only, okay? So if you need that, then you have to send a request. Don't forget to join us for next week's webinars. They're going to be off the chain. Next slide. For the month of August, guys, we are doing, because Be Strong Families is trying to help us to take care of our mental health. We have every Friday in the month of August. Also, our Taste of Café has been moved to Monday, August 22nd, this Monday for the next this week and the next week, I guess. So a Taste of Café, discipline versus punishment. Let's talk about it. I don't know about you. I need to stay out of jail. I want you to stay out of jail. So come to the cafe and have a conversation around discipline versus punishment. Use your camera, scan the QR code, and you can register today and share with somebody. These cafes have been off the chain, guys. They've been completely off the chain. So don't miss it. Be there. And then next, Andrew. Hey, guys, feel free to stop by the shop and fill up on your Parent Cafe supplies. A lot of great resources there. You don't want to miss it. If you haven't checked out our newest website, go check it out. It's a thing of beauty. Really, it is. Truly a thing of beauty. Next. Join our YouTube community. Yay! If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, Be Strong Families on YouTube, we need you to do it. We finally hit over 400 subscribers. Yay! If you share this link to our stuff and tell everybody how much you enjoy these, we could even get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Can we do that? Can we get our YouTube community to go to over 1,000 by the end of the year? All right, find us on YouTube, scan the QR code, take you straight there. Next, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you to Pam, Amani, Dorian, and Mindie. You guys completely rock. I love y'all so much. Thanks for letting me crash the party. And look for part 2. Bye, guys.